What is up, folks? Welcome to the HFA, also known as the Home Field Advantage. We are live. I've got a couple guests here with me, and before I introduce them, this show is going to be covering the team overalls, and we're also going to open it up and do a little interview with our first guest interview But yeah, with that being said, let me open this back up here, and we are going to get these guys live. And so, with further ado, I will introduce my two guests. One is the commissioner, founder of the Home Field Advantage, which is J-Rock. And our first guest for the shows is going to be Wendell, also known as one of the commissioners here. How we doing, guys?
Fantastic.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Was just muting there, so I didn't have background noise. I apologize there. But yeah, so welcome, Wendell. I know you're probably got a little first jitters, nerves going, but we'll drive
a little bit.
We'll drive the seat for you here and kind of drive through the show, and you just follow along, have fun with it. With that being said, anyone who does tune in and listen, there will be plenty of opportunities for you to be a guest on one of our shows and jump in and get your spotlight or time to shine. But yeah, with further ado, like I said, base of the show tonight is going to be covering team overalls. As we're going to get closer to the wheel spin and team selections, we wanted to give a chance to some guys to see some of the team overalls, also go over how the layout's going to be conference alignment wise. And so quickly, just to go over that, you'll see on my screen this is live on College Football 26, the new game that just dropped. And inside a dynasty, I've done our conference alignment that would follow suit for what J-Rock will do here inside the Home Field Advantage. And so within the ACC, we have the Boston College Golden Eagles coming in at a 79 overall across the board. The Cal Golden Bears, a 79 overall and offense with an 81 defense. The Clemson Tigers at a 91 overall, 89 overall offense, and 94 defense. The Duke Blue Devils, 79 across the board. The Florida State Seminoles, 85 overall, 86 offense, 84 defense. The Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, 79 across the board. The Louisville Cardinals, 82, 81, 84. Miami Hurricanes, also known as the U, 91 across the board. The NC State Wolfpack, 82, 81, 84. North Carolina Tar Heels, an 81 across the board. We are moving Notre Dame into the ACC. They're at 92, 94 offense, 91 defense. A 79 overall, and then offense as well, and an 81 defense for the Pitt Panthers. SMU, 85, 86, 84. Stanford, 79 across the boards. Syracuse, 81 across the board. Virginia, 84 across the board. Va-Tech, 82, 81, 84. And then the Wake Forest Demon Deacons, a 79, 79, and an 81. With that being said, just to give myself a break, since I'm going to be doing quite a bit of talking, I am also going to jump in and have these guys do a little picking of their own. But we'll slip over to the Big Ten, which is the next conference. We'll start up here at the top. We've got the Illinois Fighting Illini, 82, 81, 84. Indiana, 84s across the board. Iowa, 82, 84, 81. Maryland, 76 across the board. Michigan, 89, 89, 91. Michigan State Spartans, 84s across the board. Minnesota, 79, 79, 81. The best team in the universities in the college football world, 84s across the board, is the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Northwestern is a 79, 79, and 81. Ohio State, 91, 89, 94. Oregon, 92, 91, 94. Penn State, 89s across the board. Purdue, 79, 70, or 77, 79, 76. Rutgers, 81s across the board. UCLA, 84s across the board. USC, 84s across the board. Washington, 82, 81, 84. Wisconsin, 85, 86, and 84. Covering the Big 12, we got Arizona, 79, 77, or 77, 79, 76. Arizona State's 84s and 86 with the defense. BYU, 79 and an 81 defense. Baylor, 84s across the board. Cincinnati, 79s. Colorado, 86. Houston's 77, 76, 79. The Iowa State Cyclones 80, 81, 79. Kansas Jayhawks 80, 81, 79. Kansas State 80, 81, 79. I'm a man, I'm 40. Mike Gundy led Oklahoma State Cowboys 79, 79, 81. I actually don't know if Gundy's still the coach there, but that was one of my favorite statements ever by a head coach. TCU 79, 79, 81. Texas Tech Red Raiders 86s across the board. UCF 81, 79, 84. Utah 84s across the board. And the West Virginia Mountaineers 82, 81, 84. And our last conference is the SEC. Alabama 94s across the board. Arkansas 84s. Auburn Tigers 87, 86, 89. Florida 89 with a 91 defense. Georgia 94, 94, 96. Kentucky 82, 84, 81. Yes, I'm almost there. LSU 89, 89, 91. Mississippi State 84s across the board. Missouri 86 across the board. Oklahoma 89, 89, 91. Ole Miss 86s across the board. South Carolina 84, 84, 86. Tennessee Volunteers 86. Texas 92, 91, 94. Texas A&M 92, 94, 91. And Vandy 84s across the board. Finally, we are done through the home stretch. I'm going to back out, going to the rosters, and I'm going to open this up. You've seen the overalls, and I am going to turn this over to J-Rock. Give me your first sleeper team. We are going to start with an SEC. You're looking at Nebraska since that's my favorite team. But, J-Rock, give me your SEC sleeper team for guys to watch out for or pick in your eyes.
Gotcha. So for me, I want to say that the sleeper team is going to be the Auburn Tigers. When we talk about Auburn, we're talking about probably one of the best 1-2 wide receiver combination punches in the league in Eric Singleton Jr. and Cam Coleman. And they also have returning quarterback Jackson Arnold with a 93 throwing power. That's my sleeper pick for the SEC.
Yeah, Auburn's going to be a scary team. They got actually a backup quarterback as well that's almost just as good with mobility. But, yeah, that 1-2 punch. And then one other thing that I just noticed looking at the roster, they do have a top 2 corners that are going to be pretty elite. And they got some depth there at corner as well. So this is going to be a solid team.
Yep, they also got an elite edge rusher as well.
Yeah. Going to have to get that to get after them quarterbacks in the SEC. So Auburn is going to be a team, I think, if we ends up in the right hands, could be a scary team. Also, and a team that could build for the long haul if you recruit well. They do have some decent recruiting pipelines. So if you do well, you're kind of already starting off with a strong pipeline recruiting-wise. Wendell, hopefully you're kind of shaking those jitters and are ready to jump in.
Yeah, so I'm going to head over to Music City, going to Nashville, and I'm going to say it's going to be Vanderbilt with the right user. This is a well-built team currently. I think it's got enough talent to make a run. With Diego Pavia behind center, you're very mobile as is. You've got the best rated tight end in the game right now in Eli Stowers. I think he's sitting at around a 93. So you've got a solid quarterback tight end connection. Their red zone threat, definitely. You have a very capable defense. You've got solid safeties, a couple solid corners, and to kind of stay on that train. We've got very, very good Tier 1 users that are going to be in the SEC. So very scary team in the right users' hands to at least make a run at the SEC.
Yeah, a mobile quarterback is kind of the name of the game when it comes to college football, and Pavia can do it all. He's listed as a pocket passer, but with 89 speed, he can take off and run. And so you give him a tight end threat. They also have a decent running back in Cedric Alexander. And they got a couple of receivers that are not high end, but are usable. So, yeah, definitely a team that could build with and could be a little fun project as well. So somebody sees
exactly.
Moving on to my pick. My pick is actually going to be weird because I hate this team. with a great passion. And where did they go? Texas A&M. Texas A&M was a team with Marcel Reed coming back as a sophomore. He's another elite dual threat quarterback, 90 speed. But on top of that, you've got Le'Veon Moss as the running back, who's a power back. And then they have Reuben Owens in the backfield to complement him with some speed. And then they picked up Amari Daniels as well. So they've actually got a three-headed monster that gives you a kind of a power, but also thunder and lightning combo. And then receiver-wise, you have some speed there on the top three, but you have Kevin Concepcion from, I believe this guy was at NC State prior to joining Texas A&M, and he's an elite receiver. So you give them an elite receiver with the running back combo. This offense is very dynamic. They have a pretty decent tight end in Niblack, and then the defense. But the thing that I noticed last year in college football 25 is this team was very heavy in the sophomore class, and so they're going to be very heavy in the junior. It was like sophomores and juniors, so they're going to be very heavy in your junior senior class this year. But they've got depth and they've got speed and they've got like everything that you need from a defense. They've got the 98 speed corner. They've got it all. So this team could be a scary team for somebody to get their hands on and build a powerhouse. Plus, putting a right user with the top 25 stadium, Texas A&M, the Kyle Field is the 12th man. So that's another thing added on. I feel like with the shaking of the screen and the field goal kicking and all of that, that could be something to watch out
I played
for.
With they're a very capable team. I mean, it's a lot of fun playing down in College Station, and it's going to be a very electric environment. You know, when you bring Texas into town and playing them, it's a fun team to build.
All right.
Yeah. What?
Moving on to the Big Ten. I will go ahead and just say Nebraska's winning. Sorry, anybody that joins the Big Ten. No, I'm kidding. But I'm happy to have my Huskers here. Don't have the top tier team, but I've got my boys that I'm excited to play with. But we'll jump back down to J-Rock. J-Rock, give me your sleeper team in the Big Ten.
Well, I got kind of an interesting team here. Like, I'm just going to run with UCLA. They picked up a pretty good quarterback in Nico Iamaleava. And he's got an 89 overall rating on here. He's got a 86 speed. He's got pretty good throwing power. I can't remember exactly what it is. But he's also got a wide receiver in Caden Robinson. And then he's also got a couple of running backs that'll help support him, Havian Thomas and Anthony Woods. And then on the other side of the ball, they've got Keanu Williams, who's a pretty good defensive tackle. And then they've got a cornerback in Andre Jordan who can help kind of cover that receiver. So if they get pretty good pressure on that quarterback and force him to make some early throws, they could get some turnovers. And having Nico at quarterback, that could be really troublesome for guys in the Big Ten.
Yeah, Nico Iamaleava has got a 97 throw power, so that's gonna be giving you all the range to make all the throws. What's up, Nice Songer? What's up, Poison? Glad you guys are here. But yeah, so Nico is an interesting transfer into UCLA. This team's also being a big Husker fan, and UCLA came to Lincoln last year. I got to watch these guys live, and I got to see Deshaun Foster like up close, and that's actually who is the head coach of this team. He's a pretty good player.
Oh, you're cutting in and out.
What's that?
Is this stream cutting in and out?
I think we're good. It shows we're good, but yeah. So Deshaun Foster seems to have like a lot of the guys rally behind him and be like a player-led coach, and play like a likable coach from the player standpoint. And then also one thing I think J-Rock failed to mention, but I know he knows, is anytime you get a team in Southern Cal, your recruiting is going to be at its finest. So getting a team like UCLA, if you do a little well for your first year or so, you can also recruit pretty well quickly. So go ahead and give me your team in the Big Ten there, Wendell.
And I'm going to kind of go up north. I'm going to say it's the Golden Gophers from Minnesota. They've got a really solid defensive foundation up there. They have a great kind of 1-2 punch at the running back with Darius Taylor and A.J. Turner. But I think they're both at a 91 or 91, 88, 89. You have some solid playmakers on with Javon Tracy and then Anthony Smith on the defensive line as well. I think they've got 3 safeties, kind of 85 pluses. So like I said, the defensive foundation is there. It will be a little bit of a pain recruiting against Michigan, Michigan State, Ohio State, and even Penn State. But I think there's a very capable, solid team there to kind of at least start from like a mid-ground and kind of build that up into a very winning foundation and team environment up in Minnesota.
Absolutely. And one thing about these 2 safeties are they're both sophomores, the top guys at the strong safety. Kerry Brown is a sophomore, and then Coy Parrish is a sophomore as well. Goosby's a junior. So you're going to have those guys for at least 2 seasons, which is big. And then you got a Zaquan Bryan. That's another defensive back. He's a sophomore as well. So you got, like you said, you got the building pieces, you got the running backs. They tend to run the ball well, a big, heavy line to run behind. And then one guy that actually transferred out of Nebraska, he had a lot of upside, is Malachi Coleman out of Lincoln. He's a speedster. He's 6'5" with 96 speed. So you give him with Javon Tracy as a top guy. But they've got a couple weapons. They just don't have the strongest quarterback play, but like Minnesota's kind of known for that. But yeah, that'd be an interesting team, and I think it would be a fun team. They got a good uniform set. I think recruiting would be the biggest challenge for them, but it'd be fun to play with. For me, my sleeper team in the Big Ten, this is actually kind of funny that I have them because I don't know that it's much of a sleeper team, but I feel like just because of their rating, they're not like on the top of everybody's radar, but have been known for success in college football if you followed college football at all, and that's USC. USC's kind of a staple, well-known franchise, but like with the Big Ten and the expansions with the Oregons and everybody joining in, and now I'm having like 18 teams. I feel like USC just kind of is in that low first half or like close to the middle of the pack, but they've, again, being in Southern Cal, you're going to be able to recruit well. They have a junior quarterback, Jaden Maeva, who last year took over, and I think he's got a little bit of mobility, not like a scrambler, but he's mobile enough to move, but he's got a good arm. They've got a couple running backs that could be usable and could cause some issues. And then the receiver-wise, they have Mekhi Lemon, who I really like. I think he's kind of going to be a pretty good guy at the next level. And then they got a big body receiver, Jacoby Lane, who's 6'4". But they have another good tight end, like McCree. They have a decent offensive line, but then it's just the skill guys. They got speed at the linebacker spot. They got depth and speed at the cornerback spot, and then safeties. Nothing high end, but I think, again, what it goes back to is USC's just kind of been a staple, and they're going to be a strong team, and they can recruit well. And they should be there after the top teams like Michigan, Ohio State, Oregon, Penn State, some of these other teams go. You're still going to have an option to take, a team like USC, and I think with the depth they have and the building foundation, this team could be something to be turning to a really strong team.
I want to go on a limb, too, and say Penn State's taking the Big Ten this year, too.
be interesting. Silent Poison might like to hear that, but let's see. ACC is next, so we're going back to J-Rock. J-Rock, you go ahead and give me your sleeper pick in the ACC.
All right, Bill. My sleeper pick is not that. I don't feel it's that strong, but I feel like with the right user, I feel like this could be a team that could actually upset a lot of people. And I'm going to take the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. Their overalls are all kind of low, 79 overall across the board. But what I do like about this team is they've got some guys coming back that are all seniors that have all played together, and it's all on their offense. They've got Jamal Haynes, their running back, who's a 92 overall. They've got Haynes King, their quarterback, who's an 87 overall coming back. And then you've got Eric Rivers, who's a 92 overall, also coming back. So you have a quarterback that's, been with these guys over the last couple seasons, and they're all used to playing with each other. And then not only that, they've got good offensive line support. He's got more than just those guys as weapons. This is like a very well-rounded offense. I'm actually kind of surprised that they're rated so low, but I feel like with the right user, this is a team that's going to be tough to beat. Although I will say this is going to be a tough team that comes long term. They do have quite a few of their talent coming back, but a lot of these guys are graduating, going on. So as far as recruiting goes, they're going to be in a tough area for recruiting, going up against teams like Georgia. That's going to kind of loom over them. They may get some trails off of that, but I doubt they're going to have much success there. They are going to be a little bit tough to recruit with, but yeah, they're a sleeper pick for me just because I feel like this year, in the right hands with the right user, this team could actually pull some big upsets.
Yeah, the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets are a fun team. I got to play a little bit with them last year, but they've got some athletes, for sure. So, but yeah, I think you hit it right on the head. Is the amount of seniors you have. It's going to be a team that would make recruiting very important that first year. You'd have to have a huge year. So that would be a project, but it would be a fun team for the first year for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Wendell, who do you got? ACC.
So this one too is going to be a little bit of a project on the defensive side, but I'm going to go to the Cardinals of Louisville. They've got one of the best running backs in the game in Isaac Brown. Then you have the USC transfer Miller Moss coming in to play quarterback for you, starting right away. You got a very capable offense. I don't think there's going to be any issue putting points up on the board. If you've got someone who knows the right defensive sets to throw out there to kind of get opponents off and kind of just get anybody off their game, I think you're going to be able to pull off some upsets, especially in the ACC. Which outside of Clemson and maybe Miami, Florida State, and Notre Dame moving in, I think there's a legit chance you could make a run. Especially pull. There's no reason you couldn't get a 7-8 win season out of that first year for sure. And then I kind of want to flip flop and go to Florida State as well. I think they're a very a seasoned team. Everyone knows Florida State. And while they've been down the last couple of years, that's a fun team to build. It's a fun team to recruit with out of Florida. And of course, it's nearly impossible to kick a field goal down in Tallahassee when everyone's chanting in the stands. So I think those are two really good teams that I hope don't get slept on because they are fully loaded and I think they're going to be really fun to play with. But the ACC is going to be really fun this year.
Yeah, so I will jump in and say Florida State is a fun team. They got their transfer Tommy Castellanos from Boston College at quarterback. Roydell Williams is a package at running back at 221 pounds. But they've got a couple other guys, Cam Davis and Adrian Webster, that can step in. Gavin Sawchuk as well. And so they've got some depth at running back even further on down. Jalen Lucas and Kazea Holmes. So like they've got some depth there. You can use a speed back, a power back, but then Squirrel White is one of the craziest names. First name Squirrel, but his 95 speed, and he's an elite receiver that you can do a lot of damage with. Florida State's also, in my eyes, has one of the best uniform combo sets. I've always just been a big fan of that garnet and gold. But yeah, Florida State would be a fun one. Louisville would be a fun one. That running back would be your bell cow. He can do everything. For me, I'm actually gonna jump in. Georgia Tech was on my list, but then I circled around and I was kind of like trying to figure out, like, obviously Clemson's there. North Carolina was on my list. I think that they would be a fun squad. And then I also had Va Tech would be a fun squad because of everything. But I'm actually going to land on my sleeper pick is Duke. And the reason is Darian Mensah, the quarterback that they've got, is a sophomore, and he's an 89 overall. He can move around a little bit with some mobility. They've got a Jaquez Moore running back. He's got 91 speed. They got two receivers. Well, actually got more than that, but two above the 80 overall ranking, and they both got some speed, but they got some speed behind that as well. They got a solid tight end in Landon King, and then offensive line isn't bad. It's really heavy on the right side, but the left side isn't horrible. They've got a couple edge rushers that are nice, and anytime you got some guys that can set the edge and get after the quarterback, that's huge in my eyes, especially in college with the mobile quarterback game. They got a couple linebackers that aren't like stout, but they're usable. But they have a lockdown corner in Chandler Rivers at 93 overall. And then their safety play is pretty solid at an 89 and a 92. I think Duke would be a fun team. Kind of a team that I think a lot of people overlook because it's a basketball school. But in the ACC, you're going to have a lot of teams to choose from. And I think Duke's a team that can definitely compete in the right person's hands. They have the pieces to build a solid program that first year, and then you can kind of make it your own with recruiting and the transfer portal to fill in some holes and retool that team. Recruiting probably isn't the strongest, being in North Carolina in Durham, but you're close to Virginia, you're close to kind of Atlanta, so you can pull some talent from those areas. But I think Duke would be a fun school to use. Moving on to the Big 12, Tier 3 teams for this league, even though I feel like there's a lot of teams in here that wouldn't be classified Tier 3, but we have labeled the SEC as Tier 1, Big 10 and ACC as Tier 2, and the Big 12 as a Tier 3, just for parity and competition-wise. So we're going to move into the Big 12. J-Rock, give me your sleeper team in the Big 12.
All right, my sleeper team is going to be mobile quarterback, name of the game. So I'm going Kansas State Wildcats. These guys have a quarterback on both sides of the ball that are pretty much powerhouses in Austin Romaine, the Mike linebacker, and then at quarterback, you've got Avery Johnson. Both of these guys are juniors, so you have a possibility of them coming back for a senior year, which means if you play really well, you could have a good transfer portal. But outside of that, he does have help in Dylan Edwards. He's got a good tight end in Garrett Oakley. And then on the other side of the ball, you've got Damian Ilaleo, who's going to be a big help. Then you got another Sam linebacker in Desmond Purnell. And then you got a couple of safeties in VJ Payne and Gunnar Maldonado. But like I said, this is going to be a tough school to recruit with. So you're going to need to be on that transfer portal. You're going to need to be playing good in this first season. If you can get that quarterback to make some good plays, get some teams rattled, you might be able to pull off some upsets in the Big 12. And you got to remember, too, that Big 12 not as powerful as it once was. So this is pretty much a conference that's wide open.
I think you failed to mention, unless I missed it, but Dylan Edwards, the running back, they got 95 speed, 98 acceleration, and he's also a junior.
Oh, yeah. I said Dylan Edwards, too. I said that Avery's got some help, not only in Edwards, but also Oakley. You also got that other receiver. I think his name's Jace Brown. Yep. And then they've got a pretty decent offensive line. It's not terrible. They got some lower 80 overalls on there. But, I mean, you got a speedy quarterback. You got speed. So, I mean, sometimes it's good to be able to run away, make some plays. Feet.
Yeah, Kansas State's going to be a fun team. If you can perfect like the speed option or the zone read or even the option game, you've got a three-headed monster in the backfield. You've got a dual threat quarterback. You've got a weapon or two on the outside, especially with the two tight ends. You can line up and really throw somebody off, lock in and play, game clock control type of offense, but play good defense because they've got some guys on the defensive side that can really, play good football. The corners aren't elite, but they're fast. The linebackers are pretty good. They got a couple of D tackles and edge guys. So, yeah, this team has what it takes to do well. But, again, the recruiting would be a struggle, I think, location-wise, geographically. But you'd have to do well to keep the interest level high. Zach Hollowell says, let me see the Hogs. I will definitely show you Arkansas here in a second. Wendell, give me your sleeper team in the Big 12.
Hey, I just want to give a shout out to Zach real quick. Woo pig, baby. But yeah, so we're gonna move on here. I was actually looking at Kansas State too. Like J-Rock said, I kind of had to divert here. But there's like you've said before, there's a lot of good teams in the Big 12. I'm actually going to go out to Arizona State. They've got who I think probably the best quarterback in the Big 12 is in Sam Levitt. And then his top target, Jordan Tyson. I think he's probably the highest rated player on that team. He's probably around the 93-ish speed, if I remember right. So you've got a top-tier target, top-tier quarterback, just, off the get-go. And then you're looking at basically Kanye, I think, Udo. I'm sorry, I probably butchered that name. That's stepping in to replace Cam Scadaboo, after he departed and carried Arizona State all season last year. We all remember the whole playoff run. But then that's on the offensive side of the ball. So then you get the looking around. The defensive wise too, they're very solid. They're very capable. I think it's a really good team in the Big 12. We actually had a user run this team last year. Did very well with them throughout most of the season. And they're really, I don't see any issues really that are going to happen with the recruiting. I think you're going to be able to recruit just fine. Especially having the good enough offense to put points up on the board to gain interest early on. But like J-Rock said, mobile quarterbacks are the name of the game. With Sam Levitt, you're kind of more behind the pocket, I think. But I think, like I said, it's a very capable team. I think it's going to be a lot of fun with it, for whichever user this team lands in, because they definitely are getting drafted.
Yeah, I think Arizona State's definitely a team. Bryce Underwood. Who's Bryce Underwood?
He's the quarterback from Michigan. He's
it was like the top freshman, one of them.
Oh,
5-star.
Yeah.
I was like trying to think. I'm like, I know I've heard that name. I couldn't think of what it was. For the Big 12, for me, I think this honestly could go a lot of different ways. I like picking guys or teams and thinking about teams that, for me, aren't like the top of the cream of the crop, which I think like Arizona State, Texas Tech, Colorado. Colorado has a really good quarterback combination with the rookie Julian Lewis, or rookie, but the freshman. Caden Salter, the transfer from Liberty, has an elite speed, and he's a dual threat guy. They lost a lot at receiver, but they're still a solid team. But for me, I look at like what's going to be a fun like rebuild or a project, but it still has pieces. And for me, that's going to be the West Virginia Mountaineers is my sleeper team. And the reason I picked the Mountaineers, I'm getting there, is recruiting-wise, they're in an area near Pittsburgh and that Pennsylvania area. You can draw some talent from that area. They've got the, like, not a great quarterback room, but they've got a mixture of what you need. They have a guy that can stand in the pocket and throw, or they got a couple mobility guys, so you kind of find what you like. But it's the running back room that really intrigues me. And Jaheim White, I really like as a running back. He's gives me the vibe of like trying to think of the guy's name that's in the NFL, but he's like super fast, small, 5'7", 190 pounds, just an elite speed, and that's like shifty back. And Jaheim White can do it all for the Mountaineers, but behind him, they've got two other guys that are also pretty solid. And so there's another good running back room there. But then you have a couple receivers, nothing that is super sexy at all, but at the same time, they have the tight end that I like to go with the running back who's a vertical threat. And then offensive line isn't bad, but the defense is pretty solid and something that I think that I would like in my skill set range. Edge rush is pretty solid. They have a defensive tackle that I like. The linebacker room's not bad at all. They've got depth at the cornerback, and the safety room's pretty decent. So I think West Virginia would be a fun sleeper team, a team to build. But you would have to recruit a running back because these top 3 or 4 guys are probably gone. If you have a big year with Jaheim White, he probably leaves early. And the 3 guys behind him are all seniors. So you'd have to recruit a little bit, but I think, again, this team drawing from near Pittsburgh and that Pennsylvania area and like Virginia Beach area, you could probably get some recruits in the West Virginia pipeline area pretty easily. So that's my Big 12 pick. That wraps us up on our sleeper teams. We each picked one team per conference, gave out why we had those guys. Quickly, just for the viewers, Zach asked about Arkansas. There's a look at Arkansas. Taylor Green. A couple running backs, big boys. The speed guy and AJ Green. The receiver room's pretty deep and fast. O-line's decent. And the defense is there. And then the second one was Bryce Underwood, just to cover for that. Bryce Underwood is an 81 overall, and his throw power is a 96. All right, moving on to the next topic is our roundtable talk. And what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to open this up. I do a lot of the talking since it's a show that I'm hosting, and I want our guest to have his moment of fame, or time to shine. So, Wendell, it is your time to shine, buddy. You are up to the plate. And the question is, give me your early pick for who wins the national championship season 1 in home field advantage.
So I've got it down to 2. These are both very seasoned users. They've played college football and Madden. I've played against both. They're very, very capable. They're very hard opponents to play. The first one's going to be Cougars Beaver. I think he's won correct me if I'm wrong, Jay, right? 2 chips in Xbox college football, and I think he got 1 or 2 on the PlayStation side.
I think it was 2 and 4 altogether.
Yeah. Very, 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 very good user. The other one I'm going to go with is King Savage. He, I think, played with Ohio State in college. Actually got a few Super Bowls over in Madden as well. So one of those 2 users was for whichever team they get, which I believe they'll both be SEC schools they will be picking from. That's my pick to take home the year 1 championship.
Solid picks. J-Rock, do you have anything to chime in on that?
I like both of those picks, but I don't know. I've got one user out there that I kind of want to throw in the grit in there. Marco. Season 1, he was the Aggies, and he lost in the very last second in the national championship game. He gave up a touchdown in the last seconds, and the other user, instead of tying the game, decided to go for broke and went on a 2-point conversion and won that game in the final seconds. So I'm going to throw Marco up there in this equation, because between those 3 users, I'm not 100% sure I can pick any one of them.
Yeah.
Another solid up.
I remember Marco had a pretty good first year. I was trying to think of who.
He had the Aggies, Texas A&M. He took them all the way to the championship, and he played Bama. Matter of fact, he beat King Savage, so King's going to get a little bit of a chance to get some revenge this season with both of them being in the SEC.
Trying to blank of who the other guy was. I want to say it was it the South Carolina guy? Because it was Courageous Beaver.
He's the South Carolina guy.
That was him.
Yeah. Okay.
He was Florida PS5.
Right. Okay. So yeah, that's the guy. I think like I would say Marco for sure. Texas A&M definitely has a chance. When I played him early on in the first season, I want to say I lost to him with Florida State, and he went to the national championship game. But he was really impressive. And then the Cox dude, the Gamecocks dude, and then the Florida Gators guy. And then I don't know for why was it USC, was that Bro Jules?
Oh yeah, actually, Bro Jules, he's a dark horse sleeper team, and he's the only guy on PS5 that I would say has a legitimate shot at winning the Natty.
I feel
the only one.
Wow, that's big talk.
I feel like Bro Jules last year, from when I played him, he did so well at recruiting at USC. He built a crazy good team. So later on in the cycle, like season 2, 3, and 4 or whatever it was, like he had such a good team. But I would say he could definitely, depending on the team he gets, right out of the gate, could be a contender to make a run. But let's be honest, I think you might be far stretching it. The only one that has a chance in the PS5, I don't know. PS5 guys, if you hear that, that's fuel to the fire for me. I got Nebraska. I'm going to do my thing. Penn State sucks. Poison. So sorry. No, I don't know. I'm just talking shit. But anyways, yeah. Let's move into the last question that I have in our roundtable. I knew that was coming. Let's move into the last one. I think I want you to talk about not the best conference, but what conference are you most interested in watching this season? Is it Tier 1 SEC, or is it a Tier 2 where you got the Big 10 and the ACC, or is it Tier 3 with the Big 12? Talk about why. I'm not talking like does the champion come out of there. I'm just talking about the battles, how it plays out, the parity, whatever you want. Give me the reason of why you pick that and which one you pick.
So with me being a tier 2 user, I'm gonna kind of lean to the Big 10 ACC just because that's where most of my I guess opponents will come out of. But I think the obvious answer here for most of everybody's got to be the SEC. With all the top users, the top schools. Every week you've got a matchup between Texas A&M, Arkansas, Georgia, LSU, Ole Miss, South Carolina, Alabama. Just top to bottom, it's loaded with talent. The recruiting classes that can come out of there, just the pure overall talent that will be on display week to week in that conference and from these users, I think is going to be enough to draw attention from the whole league. Now, with that being said, I mean that's no diss to Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State, Miami, Clemson, any other SEC Big Ten school that I failed to mention. I just think that the sheer volume of the SEC it reigns supreme, and that's. I don't think there's really any disputes there. I think most of the college football knows that. I mean, I'm probably stepping on some Big Ten and ACC toes there, and Big 12 too. But the SEC just reigns supreme until I think a lot of our past winners have come out of the SEC. So until there's something to kind of break that trend, I think that's where we have to lean.
Yeah, I think you are spot on. I think the SEC is going to be fun to watch, but it's going to be a grind as well. If you're in Tier 1, I think for me personally, I think you and I both could be a Tier 1, but we're also in Tier 2. Yeah. I think for me last year, it was just a couple games that kind of differentiated me from making Tier 1. In hindsight, looking forward, now that I'm in Tier 2, I'm kind of like, well, hey, not only do I got to play with my team, being a Nebraska fan, but I don't really know that I would want to play Texas, Georgia, Florida, Texas A&M, Tennessee, Oklahoma, like week in, week out, like those teams, and then you add the talent of the guy who's controlling those teams, like that's going to be crazy to watch itself, but it's going to be fun to watch. I think Tier 2 has a lot of matchups that could be fun and come down to the wire, but also could, sway one way and then the next season sway the opposite way. But I also want to throw a cookie to Tier 3. I think the way this league is set up with the parity that we have or could have, Tier 3 would be the one that I want to see who comes out of Tier 3. And I think it's because there's a lot of guys that maybe aren't as seasoned or guys that don't have like the time on the sticks that some of these other guys like Tier 1 and Tier 2 put in. And I think for me, like Tier 3 just opens the door, and it really team-wise, the Big 12, everybody's pretty close to each other. But I think it just opens the door. Even if you got the elite team, you could get upset by a middle-of-the-pack team. Whereas the Big 10, you've got Ohio State, and then you've got, like, Rutgers or somebody like that. That's going to be a little bit harder for an upset. And you're going to have somebody that's probably a little more seasoned. Whereas Tier 3, you get that top team. You could still get upset at any week. So, like I said, I'm excited about it, all three tiers. I don't know if I had to pick one, I would probably hang my hat on Tier 3 just to see who comes out of Tier 3. I kind of have an idea of the names that I'm looking at, but I think I'd have to wait to maybe pick a winner to see who's got what team for me to pick the winner in my eyes. But I'm excited about that. J-Rock, what do you think?
Well, I mean, I'm in Tier 3, so I'm obviously going to say, hey, Tier 3, we're the best, Big 12, let's go, baby. But Now, when it comes down to it, it's going to be the SEC is where I'm probably going to hang my hat at, just because of the users, the schools, like even seeing like the battle of the recruiting classes. Like I know that like last season I had Miami. I was able to recruit like a mug. I was always in that top tier class, but man, the recruiting this season, it's a lot different. So being able to see that matchup, and then also like I remember seeing some guys do really well. Like you mentioned, Bro Jules. He had one season where he had like 9 5-stars. Like matter of fact, that was the last season that I was actually in that league where that I saw that he had like 9. I was like, wow, how did he do that? Like to me, that's just wild. So I'm looking forward to all those matchups and kind of seeing like that back end of like all those dudes doing that recruiting there. Like I just want to see how that all folds out, who ends up taking who home, how those teams overalls get affected, and how well they can keep competing against each other season over season.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fun to watch the recruiting battles as much as the actual like games, because the parity on the field is also going to translate to parity in the recruiting battles, and that's what college football is about. That's the added on layer that we get in college football that we don't get in like a Madden, is the recruiting battles. And you've got like some of these guys that are really invested and have put the time in, good on the sticks, and they're battling for these top dogs that the SEC teams usually draw a lot of interest from. So yeah, on field, off the field, you got it. It's going to be fun to watch. For me, that's what I got. I'm going to open it up to you guys. If you guys have any questions, throw them out there. Otherwise, we'll kind of wrap this up and get it going. But yeah, do you have any questions or anything that you want to throw out there in the round table, Wendell or J-Rock?
I think we've pretty much covered it. I mean, top to bottom, SEC, ACC, Big 10, Big 12. I'm just kind of ready to get this thing going, start drafting teams, and start the season.
All right, no, I got one last question for both of you while we're waiting on anyone else to come in with a question. So this question goes out to both of you guys. Where do you see yourself finishing at the end of the season?
At the end of the first season or at the end of like the cycle?
Yeah, that's the question.
Yeah, into this first season.
ACC, Big 10 champs, and a playoff berth.
Wow, I like it. I would say, knowing that I've got Nebraska, I'm obviously in the Big 10. I would think that I'm going to be competing in the Big 10. My schedule is favorable. I do have a couple tough games, like a Michigan game and USC and some other games. But I don't have Ohio State. I don't have Penn State, and I don't have Oregon. So I think I can do well to compete for a Big Ten championship appearance, title game, but I don't know that I have the depth in a game once I get to the Big Ten title game to maybe run the table there. It just depends how I won the playbook. I haven't really dived in with the Nebraska playbook yet. Being that I got to use a team-specific playbook, I haven't really dove into that as much. But like I said, I got my boys, so I'm excited one way or another. I'm happy, but I do see myself being in the mix or in the conversation for a Big Ten championship. Whether I win that, I think for me, my success is probably going to be more Season 2, Season 3 from a like national championship talks. But I think I'll throw this out there. I think what keeps me in hopes is with the SEC taking out everybody taking out everybody, each week they've got literally a dogfight. And so my hope is that I can sneak in to the playoff and then anything can happen from there. And I think Zach just mentioned it. Give me a sleeper to user to take it all. I think a team that is not on a lot of people's radar from the start wins this league for Season 1. I don't think it's going to be the Georgia or the Texas or the Oregons or the Ohio State. I think it's going to be somebody gets a team and runs the table and surprises people.
And we know which 3 of those users it might be.
What's that?
I said we know which 3 of those users it might be.
Right.
Hey, we could throw Zach in there too. I mean, Zach's been in the playoffs. He's a routine player. I mean, he won the last championship. He's knocked off some top tier players too. So I'll throw him in the loop and give him his flowers for because he's a very seasoned player too, and he's very capable of making a run with the right team.
Zach says earlier, J-Rock hating putting me in the tier 1 without y'all. Sorry, Zach. I tried to tell J-Rock, but no.
I figured that was flattering.
It's going to be interesting. It's going to be fun. I'm excited just to get the teams because I feel like once we get the team and the wheels spun and figure out the guys are drafting their teams, then you're going to start being able to kind of feel like making your early season predictions. And, with all the shows that we got in our pockets and what we could do, that'll be a lot of fun conversations to be had. With this being said, this is kind of a long conversation, but to wrap it up, this is the home field advantage. We have the college football, we have Madden, we have NBA, we have MLB within the community. This is a community that is built by J-Rock. He's the founder of the community. He puts a lot into it. It is a community that allows people who have a very 8 to 5 or just, standard 40, 50-hour work week to be able to unplug and play because it's like advances roughly 2 times per week. So it's not too aggressive to where you can still play your games throughout the week. But it's a very, very, very competitive league. There's also some things that we've talked about in the other shows prior to this show about the building your legacy and some other stuff there. So you have to tune into those. If you're interested, give us a like, give us a follow. Follow myself. I am the media director here for the Home Field Advantage, and I pretty much will be covering everything. A lot of our stuff gets shared to the Home Field Advantage YouTube page, so check that out. You'll see all the information there for college football, for Madden, and then down the road we'll have more for NBA and MLB as well. But if you're interested, hit us up, get in touch with me or get in touch with Wendell or J-Rock, and we'll give you the rundown, and you kind of can get a lot of the information from the videos that we've posted and covered. But there's opportunity for you to jump in. J-Rock, confirm with me. I think you said we're in the high 20s, 28, 29, 27, something like that, users for college football right now?
Yeah, we have exactly 28 users. We have 8 in the Big 12. We have 11 in the ACC Big 10. And then we have 9 in the SEC. That's 12 or 28, right?
Yes, yeah, 28. Yep. So 28 users. So there's still a few spots remaining. If you guys are interested, like I said, give us a like, give us a follow, give myself a follow. Reach out to me. Reach out to J-Rock. Wendell is a commissioner here. He can answer some questions as well. He's a guest on the show. We will have the opportunity for future guests to jump in and get their moments of fame and time to shine on the shows and everything else. One thing that we talked about earlier is kind of having some type of media day with some teams. Once teams are picked, we'll be reaching out. We'll have all kinds of opportunities for you guys to be a part of this. We're also going to do videos throughout the season to cover what's happening here inside the Home Field Advantage for you to be a part of it and not miss a beat, miss any of the action, and see who is that champion at the end of season 1. And then carry into season 2, the recruiting and all of that stuff. You're not going to miss a beat here. We will make sure it's covered. For that, I don't have anything else. I'm going to turn it over to you guys if you guys got anything. Otherwise, you guys can go ahead and wrap it up and give your 20, 30 seconds and final thoughts before you wrap it up.
I think we've covered it all. I mean, top to bottom. Like I mentioned before, I'm ready to get the league started and start drafting teams and kind of get the show on the road. And looking forward to the media days. I think that's going to be a really fun addition that we can throw in here and kind of add to the league going forward. Shout out to all my other Tier 2 guys if you're watching. I can't wait to play, and I think it's going to be a great year.
All right, yeah. Jump in here real quick, and then I'm just going to say, hey, guys, make sure to go follow Big Hurt. Make sure that you subscribe to his page. This way you can watch stuff live as it comes up. For as far as the Home Field Advantage page goes, go subscribe there too. We're going to be posting all the games there. And then we'll be doing all the broadcast videos live with Hurt. So just make sure that you subscribe to both. This way that you have the best views of both. This way you can see the games. Pretty soon we're going to move all our other sports to the Home Field Advantage platform as well. I'll be finding other media directors for the other sports as well. So we have the same thing like we have this show with Madden and college football. We're going to be having the same thing going on for baseball, and eventually we'll be having basketball with the same thing going on as well.
Well, with that being said, guys, you've heard it first from the commissioner, from the founder of Home Field Advantage. You also heard it from one of our commissioners here in college football in Wendell. I appreciate you joining us tonight and giving us your thoughts, your insights, and your picks and everything, spending some time here with us for the league and Home Field Advantage. I'm excited about what's to come. I can't wait for the wheel to spin and for us to start drafting teams. For me, I've got my team, but I always like draft time. It's just fun, fantasy drafts and all that stuff when I'm picking for real life and playing fantasy football, or like fantasy draft on Madden. But these team drafts, kind of the same thing. They're fun. You just don't know what is going to be there, and different picks, people fall in different places, and then a team falls or a team gets taken that you think is going to fall, and it's just fun. So once that happens, we'll have more to cover, predictions and all of that, and that's just a lot of, like I said, a lot to come and a lot of fun discussion to be had. But until then, I'm going to wrap this up. You guys have a wonderful night. Appreciate you guys. Give me a like, give me a follow. Let me know what I can do for you. If you're interested, I will get you in touch with the right people for this community. And until then, you guys have a good night. Peace.